Hey everyone, this is a lesson on the outbreak of World War II in Europe. There are three major reasons for the outbreak of World War II in Europe. The first one would be Hitler's expansionist policy. The second, which you would have already known um, by now, would be the weakness of LON. And the third one would be the policy of appeasement by Britain and France. Um, let's start with Hitler's expansionist policy. It'd be good if you know, and you should know, you must know, um, the objective for the expansionist policy. Why Hitler wanted his expansionist policy? That would help you in the elaboration and possibly the explanation for this factor. Now, Hitler had three major aims. The first one would be to create a greater Germany by acquiring lands in Austria, Czechoslovakia, and Poland. The aim is to bring in Germans, alright, Germans as in German people within the ethnicity category across Europe within the fold of the right, the fold of Germany. Okay, this is to Hitler and to many Germans the undoing of the wrong, the unfairness caused to them by the TOV, right? The TOV allows different ethnic communities within Europe to to attain self-determination. So you have the creation of places such as Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland, so on and so forth. But Germans living across Europe were not given a choice of whether can their community, their part of Europe, join Germany. Austria, for example, wasn't allowed to join Germany as well. Right, the whole point of the TOV was to create a weaker Germany, not a stronger Germany. So the creation of Greater Germany by Hitler was seen as to undo the injustice, the injustice in which to many Germans was their voice on self-determination wasn't accepted. Okay, so please know this connection to the earlier chapter. It may be useful for you. The second objective for his expansionist policy was to create a Lebensraum, or living space, that is basically to expand German controlled territories so that Germany would have enough resources to make Germany great again. Alright, and the third one would be to establish the superior Aryan race. The Aryan race would a superior Aryan community would be one in which impure races would be eliminated so that they could not pollute and they could not threaten the superiority of the Aryan race. So expansion will allow him to hunt those impure races, inferior races down, okay, to protect the future of the Aryan race. Now, how did he expand? Alright, there's a whole series of things in which he did, which wasn't pretty much challenged, right? So each, followed by the other, each allowed Hitler to be a bit more bold to carry on the other steps for expansion because he wasn't really challenged. Okay, first of all, Hitler withdraw from the LN, and of course before that, withdraw from the Geneva disarmament conference. Okay, basically at the conference, Germany sought to disarm to the same level as not just France, but to the other powers. However, the French refused to disarm to the same level as Germany, and Britain refused to disarm to the same level of France, and Hitler took that as an opportunity, alright, to leave the disarmament conference and therefore also to withdraw from the LON. Upon withdrawing from the LON, Hitler quickly go against the TOV by rearmament and then expanding Germany's military. Again, He expanded the navy. He expanded the army. He also created a air force, right? All of which were not, allowed by the TOV. Okay. He also made conscription compulsory, which dramatically increased the size of the German army. He also remilitarized the Rhineland. That is against the TOV and against the Locarno Treaty in which Germany had signed after the TOV. He did it very cautiously. He was very cautious and is afraid that France would retaliate. He told his army to be careful and to withdraw if there's any, military response by France. However, there wasn't any response, and that made Hitler more bold in his plans. Okay. So LN only criticizes Germany, but nothing more. As a result of his rearmament and his as response to his rearmament and his conscription, so it made Hitler a bit more bold, and he's not prepared to stop. He's going to continue with his plans on expansion. He involved in the Spanish Civil War. There are a few objectives, one of which was to test his military as well as to divert Western powers from his plan to expand into Eastern Europe. Spain, for information, is in Western Europe. Alright, it is against the TOV because the TOV only limit Hitler's use of his armed forces, Germany's use of his armed forces for defense only, self-defense only. But this participation in the Spanish Civil War, which has nothing to do with Germany, is clearly not self-defense. However, there wasn't any action taken against Germany or Hitler, and therefore he became bolder. Alright? He seek to unite with Austria. It is something in which many people in Germany and Austria had wanted. However, it was not allowed by the TOV. Okay? So first of all, he encouraged the Austrian Nazis to stir up trouble in Austria, and then told the Austrian Chancellor that only unification would pacify the people. There was a vote called in 1938 to determine whether to unite. And before the vote can be tallied, Hitler sent his troops into Austria already to keep the peace. However, overwhelming people in the population, voted for merger. Now this is against the TOV because TOV, it's not allowed the merger. But more importantly, also is against the TOV because Hitler sent his troops into Austria, and that is again beyond self-defense. He's not allowed to do so. There was no action taken against Germany, and therefore again Hitler is more bold. Later on, he wanted to take Sudetenland. Sudetenland has a large German population in it. It is again to undo the wrong of the TOV in regards to self-determination. These Germans had no voice whatsoever in whether should they join Czechoslovakia or Germany. Alright? To avoid war, Britain and France signed the Munich Agreement with Germany to allow Germany to gain control of Sudetenland. Alright? So Hitler occupied Sudetenland in October 1938 without a fight. Alright, in fact, with the blessing of Britain and France. Okay, later on he became more bold and he laid the eyes to the rest of Czechoslovakia. March 1939, he invaded and took over Czechoslovakia. The British Prime Minister and Chamberlain then realized that Hitler could not be trusted and warned that Britain and France will go to war with Germany if it invades Poland. By this time, Hitler would not have trust Chamberlain's warning. Alright, basically to pave his way to invade Poland, he signed a Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact. In the pact, he secretly agreed with Stalin to share Poland. Now, Hitler would want the free city of Danzig, alright, and a railroad across the Polish corridor which connects Germany and East Prussia, which was considered as part of Germany. Later on, however, Hitler wanted to control the entire Polish corridor, which is in Poland. Right? So Britain and France still wants to negotiate with Hitler over his demands. However, Hitler thought that Britain and France would not go to war with him over this. He thought that Britain and France would want to continue to appease Germany. He invaded Poland on the 1st September 1939, and this time around war was declared on Germany. Right, so you see that there's a whole string of effort made to expand, and each contribute to the other because there wasn't much effort. There wasn't effort made to stop Hitler, and Hitler got bolder and bolder in his action. All right. Okay. The next factor will be the weakness of the LN. You should already know why the LN was weak from the previous chapter. Basically, to recap, it failed to disarm because countries were still highly suspicious of one another. There was very little willingness to compromise for one another, leading to the failure to disarm. Famous example would be again the Geneva or World Disarmament Conference. Germany wanted to match the other powers in the armament level. France refused to limit their own armament. Britain and USA refused to commit to the level requested by France. Hitler withdrew from both the conference and LN. One could only, guess what if this conference was successful. Would Hitler, go on to expand his military? If it was successful and he commit to disarmament, we could only guess. Okay. So if Hitler were to commit and the disarmament conference was successful, then perhaps World War II may be averted. Now, the other major crisis that shows the weakness of LN that has consequence on expansionist policy would be the Abyssinian crisis. Italy wants to be a great power. It wants to exact revenge for Italy's defeat in 1896 as well. And of course, Abyssinia has mineral wealth and it wants Abyssinians' wealth. Italy invaded Abyssinia, but there wasn't any meaningful sanction on Italy. For example, a ban on fuel to petrol to Italy was delayed because the LN or the members didn't want to be implicated economically, right? As a result of the ban. Britain and France were allies of Italy, and it did not shut down. Britain did not shut down the Suez Canal, or ban the Italians from using the Suez Canal. So, in the end, the Italian military could still access Abyssinia and then invade Abyssinia. Alright, this lack of any meaningful response by LFN, alright, in part, lack of any meaningful response by Britain and France emboldened Hitler to further expand. Right? Okay, it's quite clear now that Britain wasn't very interested in expanding. In Britain and France wasn't very interested in stopping Hitler, alright, with confrontational tactics. Okay, there are a few reasons for that, and I will go through those in the next video.